Jennifer Palamas from Charlotte, North Carolina, and this is Barbecue Central.
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and... Oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
All right, good evening, and welcome to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show. This is the show that talks about all things important in the world of barbecue and grilling. We originate from the Rock and Roll. I originate from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio. It is the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Hey, happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evening. If you see fit to join in the show this evening via the email address, you got a hot take you want to pass along, I'm happy to include it, and this is how you do it.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at bbqcentralshow.com or on the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you didn't get the newsletter. Jam-packed show, as always, coming up in about 12 minutes from now. First timer to the show. What I really like to do, one of the funnerest parts of being a host of this show is getting a segment booked with somebody that might not necessarily be like a new and up-and-comer in the grill and barbecue cooker manufacturing sector, but somebody that you see. Hell, I've said their name for at least a better part of a year on another sponsor's read, although these guys are not a sponsor of the show. Maybe at some point, but not right now. But you get on the website, you start looking around, you see what they have to offer, and you're like, wow, these cookers are really something else. Let's have them on the show. Let's talk about the story, see how they got into it, what separates their cookers from the rest, how they differentiate, all that good stuff. So helping me do that at 9:14 is Travis Magee from M Grills. That's right, you hear me mention M Grills when I do the Big Papa reads each and every week. So Travis Magee will be joining me in about 12 minutes from now. And then at 9:35, he is a friend of this show. You see him here semi-frequently. He is part of the Wisconsin Barbecue Mafia, a competition promoter / organizer, obviously a heavily indoctrinated and successful competition cook. Tim Schopp from Tim's Full Belly Deli will be joining us at 9:35. And then we'll move on to the second hour. And at 10:14, we will talk with the current KCBS Pork Team of the Year, somebody who has been, as a lot of you have on social media, very vocal about the actual governing body that gave him such the award of Pork Team of the Year for KCBS. Vocal about KCBS, I might add. Brad Leiniger from Gettin Basted will be joining us at 10:14. We got a lot to talk about with him, a recap of last season, a look ahead to 2018 and what he's planning on doing, schedule of events that he'll be attending, and then, of course, we'll get into some of that KCBS talk as well. And then helping me close the show this evening is a first-timer to the show. This past weekend, winning the San Antonio Barbecue Cook-Off in the Open Division on Saturday, I believe, Jay Tinney from Tinney Barbecue will be joining me to recap the big weekend. Special thing that I don't want to ruin right off the bat with Jay, but I'll mention it as we do the introduction with him in about an hour and 25 minutes from now. But something unique happened that I'm sure a lot of you that are familiar with Jay know, but perhaps some of you that aren't as familiar will be introduced to as well. So Travis Magee, Tim Schopp, Brad Leiniger, and Jay Tinney, all coming up here on this show. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com if you want to jump in. All right, do me a favor as I ask each and every week, regardless of the platform that you get your podcasts in, because I'm talking to you podcasters right now. Although if you're listening to the show and watching the show live right now and you also subscribe to the show via podcast, please take 2 seconds out of your time, regardless of the platform that you use, and rate and review the show. 1 star, 5 stars, 3 stars, whatever. I'm happy to read them. I'm happy to get them. It helps produce visibility, more visibility for the show than there already is, which is hard to believe, I'm sure. But I thank you in advance for your help. Continuing to keep with the ongoing theme of this show since its very inception. What is that? The most popular subject on the show is indeed the show itself. Certainly last week, no exception. And it appears that, I don't know if reparations might need to be made, but if I'm wrong or I'm leading out information from a guest that might be considered incorrect, I want to make sure that I am at least calling myself out. Last week I had Big Green Craig on. He cooks in the Thunderdome, by the way. He was on for the first time, and we talked quite a bit about dry aging, if you would recall that. He was calling out 49 days of dry aging. He finds that to be the best dry age time for him. Now, the following day, I got a good number of emails, mostly from folks who are, believe it or not, dry aging experts. I didn't know there were that many dry aging experts out there, but indeed there were. And they were also butchers, and perhaps that goes hand in hand, dry aging experts and butchers. And they said to a man that the info that Big Green Craig was giving out was bad, like really bad. For instance, I got an email from one gentleman called Walter Apfelbaum. He's the executive butcher at Prime and Proper in Detroit, which is a high-end steakhouse, I believe. And it reads, "Hey, buddy, so I listened to your show today." This was obviously on a Wednesday. "And a great program that you have. Thank you for that. I had a lot of issues with what Craig had to say. I've been dry aging professionally for around 25 years, and everything Craig said was incorrect. He was giving you bad information. For instance, like the fluid out of the cryovag is purge. Excess water, myoglobin, the like. It is not an aging agent, as he had mentioned. He also said that he buys primals, which are whole animals. I would imagine he is actually not buying, he's not buying primals, but instead buying subprimals. And no one eats the outer bark on a dry-aged piece of meat. It's like shoe leather and can get you sick if consumed. His information gives people like me a bad name and makes my job harder when educating the guests." So I appreciate Walter writing in. Certainly, believe me when I say this, Walter, in no way, my humble opinion, does what anybody say on this show or says on this show in a way to reflect badly on anybody else. I don't think Craig's information, good, bad, or otherwise, necessarily reflects on what you do and where you do it at, nor does it discount any type of expertise that you have, or should it make it any harder to sell. I would imagine that if it's bad information, it would make your job that much easier to sell, but I get it. Bad information is bad information. I am certainly not purporting myself to be any type of dry aging expert. That's why I did the segment with somebody who I thought was an expert. And I'm not saying that Craig necessarily doesn't know what he's talking about, but if I'm getting that many emails to the contrary who are listing out their qualifications and their professional background, I'm probably going to side with those people because they have the pedigree, they have the experience. So I just wanted to make it a point to talk about that. So if you do have dry aging questions, I will have Walter Apfelbaum on the show here at some point. Actually, we'll be having Jess Pryles back on the show at some point. She is just finishing up a huge, in-depth research paper, I guess, on dry aging as well. So there'll be a lot more dry aging to come, that's for sure. Also, unrelated to that, I need to make a name correction, an error last week. I said that one of the host names of the best barbecue show was Yanni. And indeed, that is not the case. His name is not Yanni. That was my error. His name is Yoni, not Yanni, who you hear playing in the background. So I'm offering up my humble apologies. I actually don't recall doing it, but nonetheless, I want to make sure that I say names correctly because I know all too well going around with what appears to be a very ho-hum last name is indeed one of the most difficult last names to say. People start throwing letters in and all that other stuff. So, Yoni, not Yanni. Humble apologies here from the Barbecue Central show. Now, it would be way cooler if you were Yanni, because then Stover could be like pounding down brisket and sausage links while Yanni was playing the pan flute at Snow's Barbecue or something like that. So, again, not Yanni, Yoni. Making correction here, and that leads us into the first break. Let me talk to you quickly, folks, about Big Papa Smokers, your number one source for all your barbecue needs, whether you're in the backyard or a competition pro. Big Papa Smokers has something for you. If you're looking to improve your competition barbecue recipe, Big Papa Smokers has combined forces with fellow rub company Simply Marvelous Barbecue to form the West Coast offense. Over the last few years, the West Coast offense has cornered the market on competitive barbecue and redefined the flavor profiles that cooks from across the country have begun to aim for. They are also the owner of the award-winning Granny's Barbecue Sauce. If you're looking for a new go-to barbecue sauce that'll please everyone, Granny's traditional yet powerful flavors remind us why we fell in love with barbecue in the first place. You can find Granny's Barbecue Sauce and other top-related sauces at BigPapaSmokers.com. And aside from their premium selection of rubs and sauces, Big Papa Smokers also offers the very best pellet, charcoal, and wood cookers available today. If you're looking for a versatile smoker that's easy to use, check out the Mac 2-Star General Pellet Grill. Big Papa Smokers, the exclusive Mac dealer, and even offers special packages. Not a fan of pellet smokers? Take a look at the Old Hickory Ace BP. It's the only charcoal smoker that Big Papa trusts on his competition trailer. And if you're a backyard barbecue enthusiast like me, looking for a durable and versatile grill that will last forever, and we'll talk to him here in just the next segment, the M Grill from Texas is just what you need. They're built like tanks. Not sure what grill you need? You can't go wrong with what's offered on BigPapaSmokers.com. They come with every type of variety and budgetary constraint for the backyard cook. Check out the website today for a full selection. Again, that website is BigPapaSmokers.com. With questions, you can call 877-828-0727 or shop their website at BigPapaSmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA Smokers, plural, BigPapaSmokers.com. All right, we are back with Travis Magee from M Grills. Looking forward to this conversation, I can tell you that. Stick around, we'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show is being brought to you by Butcher Barbecue. That's right, makers of award-winning injections, marinades, rubs, seasonings, barbecue sauces, and grilling oils. All of Butcher's barbecue products have been tested on the competition circuit as well as in backyards worldwide. Be the pitmaster. Be the king of the cul-de-sac of your neighborhood. Visit butcherbbq.com to stock up now. Always trust your butcher. butcherbbq.com. All right, Centralites, we love to eat barbecue. We love to grill as well. But to get to the end game of eating, one must cook it. Here on this show, we love to chat it up with those who manufacture pits and grills. And tonight, we meet the guy responsible for creating one of the most sexiest cookers I've seen in recent memory. That was probably bad English as well. Let's race to the hotline. And welcome from M Grill, Travis Magee. First time on the show. Trav, how are you, buddy?
Yeah, Greg, doing great. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely fabulous, Travis. Appreciate you making time for the show. I guess for the folks who don't know you or maybe aren't as familiar with M Grill, let's take it back just a half step. Were you brought up around live fire cooking, and kind of give us that culinary background that has made Travis Magee who he is?
Yeah, my culinary background evolves around my dad in the backyard just grilling up some burgers and stuff. As we watch the Cowboy games. And yeah, because I'm just a typical, just a backyard griller. I really didn't get into smoking anything until, man, I was like, I'm 42 now, so it wasn't even until I was maybe 30 or so, 35 around there, until I even like smoked my first brisket. So I haven't been around the whole barbecue game. I didn't really grow up around it, just besides your typical, backyard grilling. And that's kind of my, getting my products in the hands of these guys who really, cook on the next level, it blows my mind, the stuff that they're, producing with my products. So, it's a good feeling.
So that's an interesting background that you haven't been like steeped in that slow smoke or the high heat genre, if you will, getting it a little bit later in life. But that's how it happens for a lot of people as well. So it's not that surprising, I guess. But from a manufacturing standpoint, is that something that you have always toiled in? Are you a fabricator, manufacturer by trade?
Yeah. Now the manufacturing end, we have a family-owned machine shop, and we've been in business since 1986, and we do a lot of really big stuff. So we're kind of known. Our shop is Magee Machine and Manufacturing, and that's where the M in M Grills comes from. The stems from Magee, which is my last name. But we do a lot of really big. It's all mills and lathes. Really, really big stuff. We do a lot of stuff for the paper, cement, and plastic industries. Built the base to the world's largest telescope. So
wow.
We know how to build stuff. We build stuff large. We build it, very tough, very high-end stuff. But really, my background goes as far as, like, my degree's in graphic design. So, like the photo that you shared, that's when I was working up at Fossil. I do a lot of multimedia, video production, a lot of graphic design, photography. So I do all my own content for M Grills. It definitely keeps my hands full. But but getting in there, designing the grills, building them, it's just something that I really wanted to do when I was working at my dad's shop. I said, let's start building some barbecue grills. And mainly it was just because I felt like, I kind of based everything after my style of smoking and grilling. So, I do my charcoal grilling, I do wood burning smoking, but it was, kind of, as far as the market goes, I didn't really see anything out there that kind of fit something that I wanted on my patio. So that's kind of where my grills came from. It was just stuff that I particularly wanted. So we just started building them in the shop, and it's just taken off from there.
So was it a point of seeing something that was lacking in the cooker industry, or perhaps, is it a better question to say, did you see a niche that M Grills could serve better than what was already on the market?
Yeah, kind of both. It's like, it's kind of hard to explain. It's like my wife also, she was probably just like a lot of other guys out there. My wife was, kind of a big push on designing, because my patio, I've always had an offset smoker. I've had a charcoal grill. I've had I've had 3 or 4 grills and smokers on my patio, but they weren't of all the best quality. They were just they were kind of your typical big box store stuff, and that's what I've always cooked on. And and I know when it came to smoking, it was just a nightmare to smoke on some of this stuff. Grilled on them religiously, but smoking was a different game. So, and it's funny because it wasn't until I designed, like when I came up with the M1, for instance, like when I came out with that grill and started really smoking on it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is wonderful. Smoking's so easy. So that was kind of like how it all stemmed from. It's just like, I just wanted one grill that did everything, that looked nice on the patio, and I didn't want a big offset smoker. I didn't need a lot of space. It's just like a small family. So that's just, I wanted one cooker that did everything the way I like to do it. And that's where it all kind of developed from.
Travis Magee joining me here on the show from M Grills. If you want to check out the website, I'm flashing it up here while we're talking as well. The letter M like Mike, mgrills.com, and you can check that out. Also on social media, mgrills Texas on the Twitter and mgrills_Texas on the Instagram if you want to check out some pictures and see how people are using them. Travis, you have Pro Series, you have Texas grills, you have portable grills. I guess we could kind of take them in reverse order.
Yeah.
The portable grill, pretty unique look. Some would say it really resembles an ammo can of sorts. Tell us a little bit about that cooker.
Absolutely. Well, I was going to work one day. Actually, I got to work early one morning. Like I do every morning, I get on the internet and I just start browsing. I start looking around. I'm really big into social media, so I got on Instagram one day and I saw like somebody posted like a DIY kit to turn an ammo can into a grill. I was like, man, that's really cool. It's a great idea, but that's not a very good grill. You know, I think the guy was like selling. It was, I think, it looked like the grates for it were, it might have been like cut coat hangers or something. And, it had like a template on drilling the holes. I mean, I think the guy was selling this kit for like $5 or $10 or something like that.
Pretty rudimentary.
I was like, man, yeah, exactly. And I have a lot of ammo cans in my house. I'm like, okay, yeah, but it's too thin a material. It's going to get super hot. The handle on it is not going to be comfortable. It's just got the little flat handle. The latch on it, the way it's designed on an ammo can, the latch on the front is big. It's real close to the grill. You're going to burn the crap out of your hands if you actually use this thing as a grill. So literally, I went to the shop and I built the C4. And so I made it from the ground up. We just did it all out of 12-gauge steel. So it's a lot heavier in person. A lot of people don't realize, like, they think it's an ammo can. They'll look at it, or an ammo box. They'll look at it, and, I'm at the State Fair of Texas, and people kind of look at it like, oh, my gosh, that's so cool. Look, I'm going to turn my ammo boxes into that. I was like, well, it's not an ammo box. We built them from the ground up. And I was like, just pick it up. And they were like, oh, my gosh, okay, yeah, that thing's heavy. I was like, exactly. You're not going to just, burn this thing out. It's going to last literally forever. Nice stainless steel, comfortable handle on it. The hinges are stainless steel. But it was just, inspired by an ammo box. That's where it all came from.
Are there any vents or dampers at the bottom, or you just kind of cook with it open? That's how the oxygen gets in, and away you go.
Exactly. You just cook with it open. When I first started making them, we did two different models. We did one with the holes and one without, just for testing purposes. And I found that they cook the same as long as you're using briquettes, your typical like Kingsford briquettes or any kind of briquettes really. They cook the same. They lit up fine. They grilled just perfect. And when I closed up the lids and I drove to my house. So by the time I got to my house, the one that had the no holes, it was completely out. I mean, that thing, the whole grill was cold. You could pick it up and put it in my garage. The other one, since it had holes in it, was still smoldering a little bit, and it was still smoking, and the charcoal was still burning in it.
Yeah.
I was like, man, when I was out there cooking on them, they cooked great. So I'm like, I'm going to go without the holes because, it just put the fire out fast. I could put the grill up. It's not going to burn anything, and I just feel like it works out better. If somebody wanted to put holes in it or somebody requested they'd rather have holes, we could do it. But everything I've cooked, from using it as a stove, you could take the top grate, put it sideways. You could boil water on it. You could feed wood in it just for, I've done some cooks with the skillet. It's use them as fire pits as well. I'll use them all the time when we go camping. And after I'm done cooking, we'll throw in a bunch of wood and light it up, get a nice fire, and the kids roast marshmallows in it. And we sell a lot of those to like truck drivers, believe it or not. I think my number one customer on those are truck drivers. We sell a ton to truck drivers, and a lot of camping, hunting enthusiasts. But yeah, we sell quite a bit of those.
What's the price point on that, Trev?
Yeah, $119 is the retail. So it's a lot of grill. I mean, it's small, compact, but it's a lot of grill for just about $100. It's hard to find anything these days for $100 that's actually built in something that's going to last somebody for years and years down the road. So it's a really nice little grill.
Next up is the Texas grill. Again, kind of like that ammo can, very unique in look. Tell us about this style and why you chose it.
That is actually the grill that started it all. That grill, 30 years ago, my dad designed that Texas shaped grill. And when I came back, at the time when I was over there working, doing some multimedia, when I came back to my dad's shop to start the grill business, he was like, hey, how about that Texas grill I made? Now, he made it 30 years ago. He only made one for himself. Everybody who saw it, they loved it. And so I was like, I got on, I started researching just to make sure nobody else was doing it these days because it's been so long. So did a lot of research. We started building them, got a patent on it. And, and that's the first grill we started making was the Texas shaped grill. And that grill is where we realized it's, the whole grill business, we had to invest quite a bit into it, into the grill side portion of our shop. We had a lot of the other machinery to do some of the stuff, but especially when it came to, that's when we found out that bending sheet metal for especially a grill and with a thicker steel, you got to be very precise. The precision's just ridiculous. To make a lid fit with, to make sure everything's square and perfect. And there's so many, oh my gosh. And there's so many bends in a Texas grill. Like the top piece, the lid is basically, that's one solid sheet of 10 gauge. The whole bottom of the Texas is another solid sheet of 10 gauge. And all the side pieces are laser cut. But with all the bends and for everything to fit up, we realized that's a hard grill to make. And that's the first one we started. And after we started perfecting that, all the other grills that came to follow have been really a piece of cake. But
is this the best-selling grills, or are these just kind of would you classify this as the flagship piece?
Well, I would say now it seems like the M1 is the flagship piece. That is the one we sell by far the most of. I say the Texas shaped grill is just something that it really didn't even put us on the map. It was just kind of like a cool factor. We haven't sold a whole ton of them. We do sell them occasionally, but not near as much as what we do the Pro Series line. Now we're building those every day. That's all day long. That is all we're pretty much making. And now we've gotten to where the Texas shaped grills are just a special order, because we are just too busy building the Pro Series line right now.
All right, so let's talk about the Pro Series line. You talk about the M1. There's also the M36, and if I'm not mistaken, an M48 as well, and a B2.
Yes,
So let's start with that M1. As you said, it's kind of that flagship product. And I think what's unique, so aesthetically, I think these things are absolutely dynamic, very sexy to look at. I've seen some of the people on the internet have them, and they're running them or they're breaking them in. They just started using them in the steak contest now. I see Pancho and Lefty using the M1 grill as well. Then they just competed there recently. It's unique in the fact that it is charcoal, and you have that tray with the little hand turner to raise and lower. But then you also have like that firebox underneath it. So I'm kind of amazed and shocked and awed all at the same time. Tell me about the cooker.
Well, it's actually funny because when I designed this cooker, I designed it for myself, and I didn't realize at the time that there was not really another cooker that did this. It was just something that we were actually getting ready for the State Fair of Texas for our very first year. We had our Texas grills out there, and I was like, I'm going to design my grill to go in my backyard, and just in case if somebody didn't like the Texas grills, I have this. If you like the build quality of the Texas grill, well then, but the Texas isn't your thing, well then check out the M1. And that's where it all started. But when I cook, I'm all about charcoal grilling. And when I smoke, I'm all about wood or charcoal. I'm all about, stick burning or strictly or charcoal smoking. So, but what I found is, I really didn't like some of the I just kind of wanted one all-in-one cooker on my patio that just did everything. Just one grill that does everything I want, so I don't have a lot of clutter. And it's got to be built, we call it the M1 because it's built like a tank, but it's got to be built very, very well. We make our own grates, and the grates are all, stainless steel. It's all 10-gauge steel. Nothing on the grills are nickel plated or anything porcelain coated or nothing. We build them to last. We put a lot of work into them, but that grill I didn't realize at the time that there just really wasn't another fully adjustable charcoal grill that had. I mean, I was very familiar with Hasty Bakes, but and that's probably the number one thing when people look at it. Oh, it looks like a Hasty Bake. It's like, well, I guess in a form factor, it resembles a Hasty Bake as far as a traditional looking grill, that you could smoke on. But the difference is that firebox. You can use it as a true stick burner or charcoal smoker, like you would an offset smoker.
So you could load the wood portion of it up with charcoal, throw some wood chunks on it, and operate it like you would a Weber Smoky Mountain or something along those lines. Yes,
absolutely, yes. Or you could just go strictly wood in it and just use it as a true stick burner. And that's the way majority of the time that I use it. I'll probably put a small bit of charcoal on it just to get it going. And then from there, if I'm doing briskets or ribs or whatever, I'm strictly just feeding wood, and that's it.
Do you know anybody Do you know anybody that's using wood and putting charcoal in a charcoal tray at the same time?
Oh, yeah. And
really?
That was something that I came across when I talked to Sterling Ball. So
who?
The M1 Sterling with Big Papa Smokers.
Right.
So when Big Papa, he's the first one that kind of saw this on the internet when I first started making that grill and putting out some YouTube videos. He's the first one that really. He called me up. He was like, he told me he was really intrigued about the grill. He wanted to test it out and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And but after talking with him, he was talking to me about reverse searing and such. And I've never reverse seared anything in my life at the time. I never even heard of it. And I'm just a regular old I don't really live around the whole. I guess I look at the whole barbecue thing with a different set of eyes. And,
sure.
I kind of look at, and I think that's, and in a sense, it's a good thing. But when he was talking to me about reverse searing and such, I was like, okay, yeah, I'll try it. So I started at that point loading wood in the firebox while I had charcoal up on the grate. So, in the charcoal grate area, you could do 2-zone grilling, of course, but you could also have wood burning in your firebox. So you could smoke your steaks with wood, but then finish them over with a sear. And he was telling me how wonderful it was on the M1. And then I started doing it, and now it's like, I love it. We've had Rick Davis recently here at the state cook-off in Plano. He had an M1 out there, and he was doing that exact same method, burning wood in the firebox while he had charcoal on the top grate, doing his reverse searing and such. So it's pretty unique in that sense, where I've never had a grill where I was able to do that.
No doubt. Sounds incredibly versatile. And as I said, not hard on the eyes either. If you want to find out more about these, you go to mgrills.com. This is Travis Magee, the founder of the M Grills portion of it, of course, but it's been a long-time family business. If you're interested in these cookers, again, the website, mgrills.com. Travis, appreciate the time tonight. Thanks so much for doing it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Greg.
You got it. There he is. Travis Magee from M Grills. Check out the website, man. These things are wow. The M1 is great, but you know me, bigger is better. M48. Let's go. That thing is a beast. I think there's a video on their website of the M48 that is, the amount of ways you can configure the grill grates. Hey, let's go to Facebook and get a question. Diane, me. Too bad we can't interrupt Greg with 5-minute bouts of applause. What are you talking about? Do it right now. No problem. Thank you very much. She, of course, is talking about the... okay, all right. She is, of course, talking about the... All right, sit down. State of the Union address. Don't get mixed up in that. You stay right here. Don't you dare leave me for that. Let me guess. You're either going to agree or disagree with what the president has to say. You're either going to like or dislike his ideas. Forget it. Get the Cliff Notes tomorrow on whatever news program you watch. You'll feel better about it. And you'll get to watch this show because Tim Schopp is coming up next. Are you looking to turn up the heat on your barbecue skills this year? Of course. Head on over to the Barbecue Guru. Get your hands on the most high-tech and most advanced ceramic cooker and high-tech barbecue accessory to hit the market. I'm talking about the all-new Monolith Barbecue Guru Edition and CyberQ Cloud controller. It was launched last year. It's the world's first temperature-controlled ceramic cooker and grill with a built-in power draft fan. It's going to give you the easiest and most successful barbecue experience today. These must-have new products will make barbecuing easier than ever before and will be your new secret weapon for cooking delicious food each and every time. Ready to buy? Yeah. Head on over to bbqguru.com. That's bbqguru.com and grab them up. If you have any questions about what to order, please call them. Don't guess. No buyer's remorse here. We don't encourage that. 800-288-GURU. That's 800-288-GURU. Visit the website, bbqguru.com, and hook up with exactly what you need. Remember, the biggest key to this is if you already have a Barbecue Guru controller and you get the monolith grill, you don't need to buy the CyberQ Cloud in order for it to operate. You just attach the controller that you have, and you're off and running. How about that? Now, if you want to upgrade to CyberQ for the technology, to say, I have it, maybe you don't, that's certainly your prerogative. But you don't have to if you have a controller already. You just hook it up to the fan, and away you go. All right, as I had mentioned, Tim Schopp coming up out of the break. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central show right here on the Barbecue Central Network. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Ready to get on the air? Call 216-220-0966. Now, let's get back to the LeBron James of barbecue talk. Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by cookinpellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. Visit cookinpellets.com for more information or to purchase. You can also visit amazon.com as well if you've heard of that. John Dawson weighing in. Email, State of the Barbecue Nation. It should be an annual monologue. Do it. Do it. It is right about this time every year, right? It's always on a Tuesday. Elections, always on a Tuesday. Always trying to crowd in on my spot. Quite honestly, I've had enough. Politics are nobody's friend anymore, okay? Oops. Called the wrong guy here. All right, let's do this. My next guest, a championship pitmaster, a contest promoter, and mentor to many new barbecue teams looking to get into the contest scene. 3 of his events were just recently given the 2018 Smithfield Grant. Here to talk about the events and what having the grant means is the pitmaster of Tim's Full Belly Deli. He is a friend of the show, Tim Schopp. Tim, how are you, buddy?
Pretty good, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely fabulous. Appreciate you making time as always. It appears from Facebook that we have a number of, is it the Wisconsin Barbecue Mafia?
Wisconsin Barbecue Posse.
The Wisconsin Barbecue Posse, sorry. Got to get the gang right here. My apologies. Tim, let's go ahead and talk about the events, the 3 events that were given the Smithfield Grant. Give me the names, give me the dates, give me availability for sign-up and how they're doing, all that good stuff.
All right, I'll get you close here. May 4th through May 6th, Masters in May in Appleton, Wisconsin. Second week of July, Gold Ribbon Barbecue Fest, the Greater Green Bay. That's also a double. Death's Door Barbecue on Washington Island at the tip of Door County in the 3rd week of August. All 3 doubles, all 3 with Smithfield Grant.
So, if my math is correct, this would be 6 total competitions.
Correct.
Wow. Now, are these doubles true doubles where you cook one day and then you turn around and cook the next day, or are you combining them in?
You cook Friday through Saturday, Saturday through Sunday at Masters in May, Friday through Saturday, Saturday through Sunday at Green Bay. At the Washington Island comp, we cook Thursday through Friday and Friday through Saturday to allow people to get off the island because there's only 4 ferries. And it's pretty well received. I think last year there were over 5,000 people that attended, plus the teams and vendors.
If somebody's interested in competing in these, are you more or less filled up? Do we have spots available? I mean, I would imagine those August competitions still might be a little bit.
Masters in May is completely filled. We're on a waiting list. We filled that last week.
Really?
We're more than half full on Green Bay. I don't expect it to go more than 15 to 20 days.
Wow.
That's door we're just starting on, but I believe we've got 5 or 10 in there. All these comps are 48 teams. And we've tried to make all 3 comps. They're part of the Wisconsin Triple Crown, which as long as you do 4 of the 6, your total points are tallied. At the end of the 6th comp, your points are totaled for your best 4. And the top 10 teams throughout the series split another prize pool. Last year it was $6,000. So basically what you've got is, I believe last year we had $94,000. This year it should exceed well over $100,000 for all 3 weekends.
From a competition standpoint, Tim, are you is pulling the big names considered correct? I mean, are you attracting a lot of who you would consider to be upper echelon teams to get into Wisconsin, or is that still kind of a place that's hard to get to for people?
No. Of the top 6 right now in KCBS, we have all of them except our buddy Sterling and Big Papa Smoker at Masters in May. Darren, Travis, Brad, Tim Shear, and Ryan and Karen Murphy from Dirt Road, they're all there. Rod Gray. We don't have any trouble getting the big names.
So what does it take, from somebody that is hands in, waist deep, and making sure that these go off without a hitch, and you're promoting and you're trying to get people to show up and encouraging people to show up? What does it take to make great barbecue competitions anymore?
Well, I think first you have to take care of the cook. Second of all, as Darren has said in the past, it's not exactly a spectator sport.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to involve other people and get people interested in the sport, you have to have other things. We have all 3 of these are associated with charities, large charities. Masters in May this year will have JDRF, which is Juvenile Diabetes Research.
Yep.
And a local Homeless Connections, which is a food pantry and homeless shelter. We're going to get people involved with, the JDRF is going to do face painting and an obstacle course and stuff for kids. We're going to be doing Smithfield demonstrations Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We will have a Smithfield Kids Queue on Saturday morning. And I've talked to Brad Leininger, Molly's dad, and we're working on having a hour and a half cooking class demo that Molly would put on just for kids.
Really?
And Greg's all for it. I believe Molly's all for it. Molly will be coming. And we've just got to iron out the details. But we think that's something that'll get the public involved and kids involved.
Tim Schopp joining me here on the show. Tim, let's talk a little bit about that Smithfield Grant. I mean, obviously, a number of contests went out and applied this year, and they gave out double the amount that they did last year. 3 get it. For you, you got the Golden Rib, you get Death's Door, and you got Masters of May. All these 3 get that Smithfield Grant. So, from your perspective, what does that Smithfield Grant allow you to do? And I would assume that it does help in attracting teams to come out and participate in one of the 3 or all of the 3, for crying out loud.
Well, definitely. First of all, it attracts the Smithfield teams because they're going to support Smithfield. They sponsor us, and they're doing a hell of a lot for barbecue. And I'm going to back up a week or 2. I understand a lot of people upset with the loss of Sam's. It's $500,000 worth of revenue for KCBS and for us, and it was a great thing. But I think what people fail to see is what's happened in the time Sam's was here. In the meantime, Smithfield will probably put in more money than Sam's does. And Smithfield is doing more to help KCBS grow, I believe, than Sam's did. Sam's favored the great cook. You got to be a great cook to get to the end. You got to the end, you went to Bentonville. And it's great. And all these guys are friends of mine, but if year after year we have Travis, Darren, Tim, Brad, Dirt Road, Big Power, if we have these people there year after year, the sport's going to die. We need to bring in new blood. Our big thing with the Smithfield Grant, and we started it long before Smithfield came here, we called down to 15 in most comps. We paid down to 10 in everything, including overall. And we do this so that we take these teams that are new, which Wisconsin has a lot of, and we get them involved. They get to hear their name called. Maybe they only get a check for $20 and a ribbon, but it gets them involved, and they get the bug. And believe me, we have a lot of them in Wisconsin. We've seen guys go from not getting a call to getting a ribbon and $20, and 6 months later pulling in with a 35-foot toy trailer and a $6,000 smoker.
Isn't that the problem, though, Tim?
Why is that the problem? Why is it a problem?
I don't. That just seems like it's 6 months. That's a huge leap, right? $6,000 smoker and a $50,000.
I agree, but it's a personal choice. But if you're going to build this, and getting back, if you're going to build this, you need to build from the bottom up, not from the top. And Smithfield, part of the grant program is you got to pay deeper, and you got to take care of these teams and help promote barbecue. And I mean, we do it here in other ways. You know about Frozen Bones and Choke the Chicken, where we bring these teams out. They pay $135. They might walk out of there with $135 in door prizes, but we get them in there. They cook with the big guys, and they see that it's not as intimidating as it looks on TV. The big guys help them. They may get their name called, and we had three teams at Frozen Bones this year that have never cooked in an organized competition. We had 6 or 7 teams, but 3 of those teams are going to be cooking now in Wisconsin comps. They're going full bore. They want to go competitive barbecue. And that's the way you got to build this sport. Because the opposite way is to all of the guys at the top just keep fighting amongst each other, and pretty soon we'll all be pulling in there with Indy-style Prevost motor coaches and 40-foot trailers.
Yeah, well, and that's very expensive. The last time I checked, we're talking with Tim Schopp from Tim's Full Belly Deli. Tim, anything else as far as the competitions are concerned before I move on to my next topic?
What we're going to do is, like I said, Green Bay, I believe, is going to have a kids' queue and live music and some other things. Death's Door is God's country. I mean, we have people that come to that Thursday competition the Sunday before. Whitestone beaches, lavender fields, butterfly gardens. It's kind of, you get off the boat, they should have a sign there that says turn your watch back 30 years. It's just beautiful. It's an island that's held at an old airport. You get a complimentary Friday night fish boil if you like that. Otherwise, you eat brats and hamburgers, but just good people. The town treats us like royalty. It's the biggest thing to happen up there. And like I said, they get 5,000 fans coming out.
Wow.
Talking to you. It's just a great competition.
Tim, is there something going on with coolers and bannings and boycotts in Wisconsin that we need to address in any form or fashion?
Well, we can address it. We'll address it this way.
All right.
Last year at Masters in May, the reps, the KCBS reps, not the Wisconsin reps, but the KCBS reps, noticed and heard some inklings that there were some judges from out of state that were taking tiny bites off the end of each meat sample. Apparently, the next morning, before the judges' meeting, for the second comp, these same judges were talking about how they took their meat samples home and fed 10 or 12 people who they were staying with in Appleton, Wisconsin.
Oh, boy.
The KCBS reps decided to make it a no cooler contest the second day.
Good.
When they came and asked me what I thought, I said, you know what? I think it's great that you did this. I says, these are some of the things that have to be done, and if you see improprieties amongst the judges, you got to address them, and I give you a lot of credit for doing it. Well, one rogue judge took this to mean that the Wisconsin Barbecue Posse was going to boycott every contest in the state, which makes no sense, that doesn't have a cooler policy. Well, Green Bay does have a cooler policy. They've had it. This judge wrote an email and went after the organizer with everything from you're wasting food to the Bible says.
Uh-huh.
And the organizer basically told him, we have 48 teams coming, so we need 8 cable captains. So we need 56 judges, and we've got over 90, and now it's over 100 that have already are begging to judge the contest. He says, so I really don't care if you don't feel like coming to the contest. Fine. This rogue judge, in turn, apparently wrote an email to over 150 judges in the country.
Wow.
And wanted to take into KCBS that this was all wrong. This is not according to KCBS rules. I guess he got a couple followers, but of course, we didn't retaliate. We didn't say anything, but I did get a copy of the email. And never said a word. And it grew into him telling people that they want us to eat the whole sample, not just take a bite, and nothing like that was said. I mean, everybody knows who's in competition barbecue, there's no way you could eat all 24 samples.
Sure.
And not get carried away on a gurney. So, it kind of got blown up. I believe KCBS discussed it, but what it comes down to is it's up to the organizer what he does. The Wisconsin Barbecue Posse doesn't care if they have a cooler policy or not. The only thing we ask is that we get a fair sample taken of our, a fair bite taken of our sample. We have tried to bring judges and teams closer together with events. For instance, my events. My wife goes into her pocket every event. Whoever judges our comps, frozen bones, choke the chicken, my wife gives them a $10 gas card. Now, that doesn't sound like a lot, but here, if you're with your wife and you get $20, it pays your gas for the round trip to come to the comp at least, and
Sure.
it's something.
Sure.
And we plan on doing that kind of thing throughout the comps. The whole thing with the cooler policy, I have no problem if a judge comes to me before and says, hey, you got any barbecue? I got some friends coming home. They can come to my place after my site after 1:30, brisket turn-in. My wife will make them a big styrofoam box of barbecue to take home. We have also discussed taking our extra food and building a grazing table for the judges after the comp. We have nothing against the cooler policy. We have nothing against the no-cooler policy. All we're asking for is that it be judged fairly.
Well, I mean, that has to be incumbent upon telling the judges, look, if you're coming to a contest, don't come with a cooler mindset that you're going to take the most minuscule of bites, and the goal is for you to hoard as much competition barbecue as you possibly can so you can eat it later, and hopefully you can discern which barbecue was better than the other with that little bite. If you're a judge, you're there to judge the food, right?
Right. I'm a KCBS judge. I went to one of Mike Lake's classes. I have cooked for 2 other judging classes taught by Dave Lundeen, so I've listened to all of it. I don't remember any topic in there about coolers or taking food home. And if you're coming with the mindset of what you're taking home, Wisconsin doesn't want you to come and judge.
I'm sure that's a mindset of a lot of other places.
Greg, it's become very hard for me not to blow up and say something and say this guy's name, but I'm going to put it to I can put it to him this way. I hope he's listening.
Yeah, no names, please, as we say here on this show.
The trouble that he started here, going behind everybody's back, and I understand he's handicapped and he uses that as a crutch, but going behind everybody's back, sending out these emails instead of addressing everybody, I'll buy him a spare battery for his scooter. I'll meet him anywhere he wants to in public and discuss this problem. If this continues, I can guarantee you the Wisconsin Barbecue Posse will make sure he better have a trailer full of batteries because he'll be going hundreds of miles to judge again.
Wow.
End the rant.
Tim Schopp laying it down from Tim's Full Belly Deli. The 3 events that we were talking about earlier, the Masters in May, the Gold Ribbon, and Death's Door, all Smithfield Grant recipients. Tim, as always, I appreciate the candor and the insight, and we'll talk to you again soon, my friend.
Thank you, Greg.
You got it. There he is, Tim Schopp from Tim's Full Belly Deli. Wow. Look out. I don't get that at all. Like, if you're going to be... There's a lot of wasted barbecue competitions. I think Tim would be the first one to say it. But, I mean, don't be a judge and show up to eat first. Like, or not eat first and take home. That's bizarre. Folks, let me talk to you quickly about the Pit Barrel Cooker. Pulling the trigger on a new one could be nerve-wracking sometimes. Temperature control, fire management, what woods to buy, who needs the hassle. I strongly suggest the Pit Barrel Cooker. It's very versatile, and that's all thanks to the revolutionary design that goes beyond traditional convection. Their hook and hang method places food right in the center of the heat. So it's acting like a stationary rotisserie. Result, great tasting, perfectly cooked meat each and every time. In the industry, that is called consistency. Not only is it a fabulous cooking vessel, it's aesthetically sexy as well. Built to withstand heat thanks to its porcelain enamel finish, the Pit Barrel is able to withstand any type of weather condition. Also extremely portable. It fits in the back of most trucks, vans, and SUVs. The Pit Barrel Jr., extremely portable. Of course, barbecue folks love the accessories, right? Pit Barrel and the Pit Barrel Jr. don't disappoint here either. Rubs, unique rub shakers, removable ash pans, pit grips, cut to fit, charcoal chimneys, turkey hangers, hinge grill grates, skewers, extra hooks, a new bottle opener / hook holder. Did I mention a coffee mug? Did I mention a beer koozie? The list goes on. For the best part, $2.99, a little less for the Pit Barrel Jr. Both of these come fully assembled, ready to cook on, ships right to your door. Not only does the cooker ship free, but everything they sell ships for free to lower 48. No coupon code, no promo needed. Don't take my word for it. The folks at Amazing Ribs continue to sing the praises, giving it their gold rating. Head on over to pitbarrelcooker.com and see what everybody's talking about. Call 502-228-1222. That's pitbarrelcooker.com. We're back right after this.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, let's see if we can't hit up some Facebook questions here real quick. Ron is in regards to the State of the Union. It was either watch the Train Monkey Act or listen to the Godfather of Wisconsin Barbecue Posse. Tim won. Congratulations, Tim. Diane Me weighing in. I don't understand why the judges just don't come around the teams to get the leftover barbecue after they are done judging the contest. I always give meat to the judges when we're done. Perfect sense, right, Diane? Of course. Here's another one. Coming in from Michael Lee Rosenthal. A judge always welcome to come by my site after we're done and take home some barbecue. Seems to be the common theme. Let's get one more here from Sean McCulligan. Oh my God, are we really at this level of butthurt? Can't we all get along? I don't understand how people wanting something for nothing or working the system, right? And as everybody has said here, Sean, there's a tremendous amount of barbecue that is laying around after turn-ins. You know, a lot of the homeless shelters won't take it, or the contest organizers won't allow it because there's food safety concerns, so on and so forth. So, hey, judge, if you're done, hit up the teams. They're ready to give it away. They want you to taste it again and again, right? That was Tim Schopp from Tim's Full Belly Deli. Again, Masters in May sold out. Gold Ribbon in early July, probably going to sell out here in the next 15 to 20 days. And in August, you have the Death Store Barbecue Competition. Still open there, but that's going to go fast too because of location and teams and all that stuff. All right, we will reload for the second hour. Got some good takes coming up right out of the break. Your emails if you want as well, or hit me up on Facebook. I'll mix those in. Stick around. Be right back.
this is Bobby Rempe from Cleveland, Ohio, and you're listening to Barbecue Central.
Happy to have you aboard here for the Really Big Barbecue Show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude!
Succulent fish. What?
He ate sushi for wiener. Oh, listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
All right, just like that, we are into the second hour. Here we go. For the folks that are just tuning in live here on the Facebooks, the YouTubes, also we do stream live the Periscope as well. That used to be just like a Twitter thing at some point, right? I don't know. Anyway, good stuff. Thanks to Steve Ray in the background for screening out and putting up only the most important messages on Facebook. Thank you, Steve. No names, please, up for the second hour. Got another Facebook comment here from Code 3 Spices. We just started carrying Big Papa Smokers rubs and have been friends with Big Green Craig for years. Great guy for sure. Mark Lambert, sweet swine of mine, is the real deal. We just recently started using his Lil Red Box for some backyard cooks. Puts out some amazing foods. Code 3 Spices. Shout out. Right. I don't really like to say shout out, but I said it. Go ahead and frequent Code 3 Spices. They do donate a portion of sales back to first responders and so forth. Still to come on this show tonight, Brad Leiniger from Gettin Basted and Jay Tinney from Tinney's Barbecue to recount the big win over at the San Antonio Barbecue Cook-Off this past weekend. If I might, I've been reminding you here over the last... Okay. I've been reminding you here over the last couple weeks about Facebook's new policy on being able to boost and what you see in your feeds and all this stuff, trying to be way more friend-centric, whatever that means. So, here's what I would like you to do if you could possibly do it. Even do it now while you're watching the show. Open up another web browser tab. Head on over to Facebook. If you're not a fan of the show page, the Barbecue Central Show, just hit up facebook.com/BBQ Central Show. First and foremost, if you don't already, like it. And then right under the graphic, there is a button that says following with a little drop-down menu arrow. Go ahead and hover over that. And then as that develops below, you will see a heading that says in your news feed. All you have to do is make sure that that is checked, and then every time you hit the feed going forward, it's going to show all the posts. Well, I guess the better thing is to say every time I put something new in the feed for release and post it, the next time you hit your feed, it'll be right at the top. For instance, you say always show at the top. You forget the show's on live on Tuesday. You get on your Facebook, you hit the feed, and then all of a sudden you'll see the live video up there. You're like, oh, I almost missed the show or missed the first hour. Darn it. Well, luckily I was reminded that the show's running right now. So that's all you do. Make sure you like the page at Facebook.com/BBQ Central Show. Like it. And then under the graphic, there's the following button. Make sure that in the news feed heading, that, okay, hold on a second. Sorry. In the following heading, make sure in the drop-down menu, you find in your news feed, make sure that's checked, at the top. So that way you'll get all the latest, greatest information as I do it. And I'm really trying to press some more nifty content. If you're following me, you see I'm posting pictures of my Sunday pizza night cook which we did on the Green Mountain Grill. I have a couple more pizzas to post here over the next couple days. Took a lot of pictures. I'm trying to ration it out here over the next handful of days and stuff. So trying to use that flash a little bit, get better high-quality pictures. I don't know if you heard or not, but the last NFL football game of this season is coming up on Sunday. First, let me ask you this. Would I really run the risk of getting sued, shut down, cease and desists sent my way if I use the term soup or bowl? Everyone I hear now, everywhere, even on way more lame podcasts than this show or internet shows than this show, is saying that key phrase, the big game. So in order to stay compliant, I will just say the last game, which will also happen to crown said champion of the 2017 NFL season. However, aside from crowning a champion, it's an official eating holiday, of course. We love that. And what do you think people are going to be eating more than anything else? Folks, grab your seats. Americans are set to eat 1.35 billion chicken wings for Super Bowl. Holy moly. According to the National Chicken Council today, it released its annual chicken wing report, that's a real thing, which projects Americans' consumption of the unofficial menu staple of Super Bowl Sunday. I said soup or bowl, by the way. That's the chicken wing. The NCCS's 2018 report projects that fans will eat 1.35 billion wings, not pounds, but actual wings during Super Bowl weekend. An all-time high as the Philadelphia Eagles and New England Patriots battle for the Lombardi Trophy. The figure's up 1.5%, or 20 million wings from just the year prior. In a quote, "There will be no wing shortage," said National Chicken Council spokesman Tom Super. That's funny. Whether you're a fan of the left wing or the right wing, there's no debate about America's favorite soup or bowl food, although we don't anticipate an uptick in chicken cheese steaks. To visualize how many wings 1.35 billion are, here are some mental pictures that I could paint for you. If 1.35 billion wings were laid end to end along Interstate 95, they would stretch from Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia to Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. 250 times. If that isn't enough, 1.35 billion chicken wings is enough to put 625 individual wings on every seat in all 32 NFL stadiums. That's right, every seat in every NFL stadium getting 625 wings. 1.35 billion wings is enough to circle the earth 3 times. That's 394 million feet of chicken wings. Enough that a chicken could cross the road 13 million times. Americans will eat 20 million more wings this year than they did last year. If wings were dollars, that would buy... I just got lost. I'm sorry. Okay. If wings were dollars, that would only buy us 2 minutes of commercials during the big game. What?
Get that big stuff out of here.
20 million more wings. So if that was $, $20 million gets you 2 minutes. That's a $10 million per minute. So if you're looking to sponsor the Barbecue Central show, we are way less than $10 million a minute. And target market. Hit me up if you're interested. Way less than $10 million a minute. Now, if you're looking to choose sides, I got you. More than half, almost 60% of U.S. adults who eat chicken wings say they typically like to eat their wings with ranch dressing, according to a National Chicken Council poll conducted in January of 2017. Ranch is number one. Sauce typically eaten with wings, and its popularity has been growing steadily, up from 51% in 2014 and 56% in 2015. Only 1/3, 33%, like to eat their wings with blue cheese dressing. What? That's a travesty.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Here's the full rankings. Number 1, ranch. Number 2, which is a tie, buffalo and or hot sauce. Number 3, well, I guess would be number 4, honey mustard. Number 5, blue cheese. Number 6, teriyaki sauce. Number 7, sriracha, not sriracha. And bringing it up in the end, nothing. I eat them naked. Now, here's what I have to say. You like ranch dressing, okay, that's fine. Do whatever you want. If you're going to put buffalo-style sauce, hot sauce, on your chicken wings, how can you eat anything other than blue cheese on this? Ranch. Get out of here. Ranch. I think one of the guys on Best Barbecue Show is all over ranch. I'm like, nope. Chicken wings, buffalo chicken wings require blue cheese. Actually, I think the other guy that I called Yanni on accident is a blue cheese fan. I might have those guys mixed up, and I might have to be doing another apology next week. But I believe not Yanni, but Yoni is the big blue cheese fan, if I'm not mistaken. Let me talk to you quickly about Green Mountain Grills, makers of some of the best pellet cookers out there on the market today. Number of different models to choose from. If you want something big to cook a lot of food in because you have a big family, you love to entertain, the Jim Bowie is the one you want to take a look at. All of these cookers, Wi-Fi enabled if you want to use it. Or you can opt to not get Wi-Fi if you want, but everybody loves technology these days. Then you have the Daniel Boone, middle of the road. The Daniel Boone and the Jim Bowie also are able to accommodate that high-heat pizza insert, which I was doing the pizzas on this past Sunday, taking all those pictures of. So if that interested you and you follow me on social media, you're going to want to get the Daniel Boone or the Jim Bowie. And then I think it's like $130 or something like that for the pizza insert. You got to get it. Well, it'll be the best $130 you spend in your life. In your life. Watch out. Oh, totally blew that. Then you have the Davy Crockett, right? That is the take it wherever you want to go and cook model. Here it is. Warming my hands up over the fire. You can run it on an inverter if you want. Take it with you on camping, plug it into your van or truck or car, fire it up, and away you go. Just got to make sure you have pellets. Green Mountain Grills can supply you with pellets as well, so it's a perfect one-stop shop in that regard. Again, the high-heat pizza insert. If you want to cook smoke roast, as I say, it can reach temperatures up to 500 degrees. You can cook burgers and steaks and chicken and all that other stuff, but you can do the traditional low and slow barbecue as well in all these cookers. And with that Davy Crockett, you're not sacrificing capacity for portability. You can still get 2, maybe even 3 pork butts if you TP them there in the middle. GreenMountainGrills.com. That's GreenMountainGrills.com. We are back with Brad Leiniger, the KCBS Team of the Year in Pork, Gettin Basted's Pitmaster. Stick around. Be right back.
The only show giving you a monthly visit from a doctor of barbecue. A man actually named Meathead. The author of a barbecue Bible. Bloggers, reviewers, competitors, and manufacturers by the dozens. It's the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Smithfield. Champion Pitmasters are winning with Smithfield. You can too. Commit to cooking with Smithfield this 2018 barbecue season. You'll receive smoke and swag just for participating. Only if your requirements. Sign up and pay a $25 shipping fee. be a member of one of the barbecue sports major sanctioning bodies. Be sure to come back and track your first place finishes in pork and ribs to win great prizes through the Walking with Smithfield incentive program. For more information, you can visit smokinwithsmithfield.com. Once you're a committed cook, go ahead and show Smithfield your pride by hashtagging Show Us Your Smithfield on the Facebooks and on the Instagrams. Again, that's limited to 500 participants. So get committed and get cooking with Smithfield. All right, my first guest in the second hour has been one of the most dominant forces on the competition circuit here over the last handful of years. This past season, his team won third overall KCBS Team of the Year and were the Team of the Year in the pork category. Here to talk about the 2017 season, what the 2018 season might hold. His take on the current state of competition barbecue is friend of this show and the pitmaster of Gettin Basted, Brad Leininger, joining me here on the show. Brad, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you, Greg?
Absolutely fabulous, Brad. Appreciate you making time for the show, as always. So I guess let's start here first. Recap the last 2017 season, and according to barbecuedata.com, you get in 43 or so contests, you win 7, you RGC 6. I'm no mathematician, but that's right around a 30% clip or so of coming in first or second at a contest, so that's pretty awesome. How do you look back on 2017 from a competition perspective, and what are a few things that really made an impact or stand out to you and the team?
Oh, I mean, we had a blast in 2017. Started off slow, really picked it up. I don't think we got our first win until towards the end of April. So we really, really kind of eased our way into it. But once we got it going, it really settled in, had a good year. My favorite part of the season, and you know, I don't know if anybody noticed this, but Tim Shear and I were battling back and forth all year in pork. And it was one of the most fun. I mean, he'd go out, he'd win. I'd go out the next week, I'd win. And we were just back and forth, you know, talking trash, you know, like we always do, and just having a blast with it. And I think I ended up with 10 wins, and he ended up with 9 wins. And both of us, it was a shame that we both couldn't win it because we both had some of the best pork years ever. So that's what really kept me energized going down the stretch.
Is it fun to really go back and forth with, I mean, Tim is just a great guy, good personality. He's obviously very invested in the sport, as you are as well. And you guys know each other, and you've been doing this time and time again for, you know, any number of years now. So to have that kind of camaraderie, being able to smack it around a little bit and know there's not going to be any hard feelings, but literally you're winning and then he's winning and you're in first and he's in second, then he's in second, then you're in first. And that really had to be an exciting year, as you said.
Oh, and he'll tell you the same thing. I think goal number one always going into the year is beat Tim. And usually if I take care of that, you're going to do something good. He's got me, I think the last 3 years actually, he's beat me by 1 spot in the overall place. So it was nice to get him a pork. But that's always, you know, he's one of my best friends. But it's certainly, you know, we enjoy beating each other as well. So it's definitely fun. It's fun cooking with people you like. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that I enjoy cooking with, cooking against. You know, cooking with Travis, cooking with Blaine, and they'll every one of you that, you know, the most fun is just beating up on each other and talking a little smack. So that's just what it's all about.
Brad Leininger from Gettin Basted joining me here on the show. Brad, as I had mentioned a few minutes ago, this past season, 3rd overall, you win pork. Last year, 7th overall in Team of the Year. In 2015, 7th overall in Team of the Year. We talk about consistency a lot on this show and with the pitmasters that I'm interviewing each and every Tuesday. So let's talk about consistency. Were there things as a team that you specifically focused on this year to try and give yourselves the best chance to compete at that highest level each time in?
Yeah, I mean, I think consistency is the key. I mean, we focus coming into the, you know, I a lot of times in the off season, I kind of focus on one meat. And ribs last year, you know, I finished second in 2016 in ribs Team of the Year. It was really inconsistent category for me. It seems like it was a first, or, you know, I was scoring a 180 or I was scoring a 165. And so one of the things I really worked on, I think the thing that bumped my season up was the fact that I went the majority of my contests, I was above 170 in ribs. I think I went from May until the last contest in Las Vegas, I was not below a 170 in ribs. And that's the thing, you just sit there and you look at and Barbecue Dad is a fantastic site, by the way. I don't know who puts that together, but, you can look at that, and what you try to do is just get more points. Where can I get more points? If I can get 2 or 3 more points here, 3 or 4 more points here, I'm going to have a better year, and that's what I was able to do. I think I was able to up my scoring average by 4 or 5 points, and of course, unfortunately, everybody else is getting better too. So you kind of have to keep that intensity up, and you kind of have to keep that improvement up. But just always working on something, always looking to get better, and you've got to. Like I said, there's so many good cooks out there, and barbecue, really, I look at it like sales. I mean, just like you said, the percentage, 30% or whatever the percentage is. You go out there and everybody complains about the table of death, or they complain about this or that. But at the end of the day, your percentage is your percentage, and all you can do is go out there and put 4 meats on the table that can score, and when you have to put yourself in a position to win when the judges and the tables fall your way that day.
Brad, you had mentioned a couple minutes ago that you love competing against those handful of people, and perhaps even more that you see on that competition trail weekend in, weekend out. But holding that aside, in the end, when it comes down to Gettin Basted being crowned Pork Team of the Year for KCBS in 2017, what does that win mean for you personally? What does it mean for the team? How do you see that?
Well, I mean, it's one of the goals we put out. Right now, KCBS Team of the Year is definitely something that you set out, or a lot of teams set out at the start of the year, and to be able to get that done against competition like Travis and like Tim, it's very special. I mean, both those guys had 2 of the best years that anybody's ever had in barbecue, and to be able to go in there and sneak a category out from underneath those guys, it was very special. And honestly, I'm extremely proud of it. It's probably my proudest accomplishment in barbecue to date, is being able to get that done.
Are you able to give us pork tips? Like, I'm sure there's a bunch of backyard guys and gals or people that just might be getting into a competition scene, whatever that means to them. From the guy that is on the top of the heap right now, what are some of the biggest high-level recommendations or tips that you can give us?
Yeah, I mean, and we cook hot and fast, and I think that's kind of the predominant way to cook now. We're cooking on gateway drum smokers over open coals, and one of the things that we do is sit there and look at, we're almost grilling it. We call it turn and burn. We're sitting there flipping that meat over, and we're sitting there looking for a good color. We're looking to get that, it's almost like the ribs where they kind of have the fat weeping on it. The pork will get the same way. Around that money muscle, you kind of get a little bit of that yellow liquid coming out. And we're looking for that, and that's when we'll wrap it up. And then after that, it's a tenderness game. I'm cooking Smithfield. I've been cooking Smithfield pork for, the last 4 years, I think. And we cook extra tenders. And just that particular combo, I had a terrible pork year before I switched to them. And as soon as I switched over there and started really paying attention and focusing on it, the scores went up. So the main thing is get that good color, wrap it up in a flavorful liquid. We're using a liquid with predominantly Blues Hog Tennessee Red in it, and then pull it at the right tenderness, which the way we're cooking it right now is the Money Muscle's 205, 206 degrees, something like that. So it's pretty tender. I mean, it's holding together, but it's on the tender end. And then finish it, taste everything before you put it in the box. Make sure it tastes good. But that's the main thing. Hit that tenderness. I mean, everybody will tell you, the flavors with classes and everything that's on the internet, the flavors have become a little bit homogenized, so to speak. But so it's become truly a meat contest. It's truly a tenderness contest now.
When you talk about temperatures and, of course, tenderness, I've heard that being preached here for years and years. Of course, you can do all the flavor profiles you want, but if the tenderness isn't there, you're not going to score as good as everybody else is. Are you a team that is solely money muscle, or have you evolved to include other parts of the shoulder as well in the turn-ins?
Yeah, we turn in money muscle for sure. And then there's another piece, that we turn in that's on the bottom part of the butt. And I don't know, I saw something on Facebook about it a couple months ago where the judges were talking about teams turning in bacon. Well, we call that the bacon. It's not really the bacon. It's the part that's up against the back. So, I mean, it's between 2 layers of fat. Memphis and May guys call it the ice cream, I believe. But it's just a really tender, good piece for pulled pork if you cook it right. It can get mushy, so you have to be careful. But we turn that in. And so generally, if our box is right, we're just going to turn in 2 types. We're going to turn in money muscle. We're going to turn in some pulled. Every now and then, if I have just an insane money muscle and I have it's really good, I'll turn in some chunks for the money muscle as well for a third type. But it has to be really good before I do that. Generally, I'm just turning in some pulled and I'm turning in sliced money muscle.
Brett Leininger joining me here on the show, talking about all things pork here. He's KCBS Team of the Year for pork in 2017. Just for a dichotomy, you hear all the time about this is what competition barbecue is. I would never cook it at home like that. Same for you. Like, how much would your home pork differ from what you would turn in a contest?
I think if you're making those statements and you're doing that, I don't think you're getting competition barbecue, to be honest with you. I mean, competition barbecue is still good food. Good food wins. And you know, I kind of bet my livelihood on this. I mean, one of the things, we have a restaurant Gettin Basted in Branson, and we do the same pork, you know, as close as we can get mass produced, that I turn in competitions that we serve in the restaurant. So if you're not making good, if it's something that you're not going to want to sit down and eat, the judges aren't either. I mean, yeah, you may go ahead and hit it with a little bit more salt at the end or something to make it pop a little bit, but make something that's good. And you're trying to make something that's down the middle. You know, you're not trying to make something that's, if it's so rich you can't eat a lot of it, or if it's so sweet or so salt, or whatever it is. Make good food. Good food wins. The judges want to eat good. So I think that's personally, I think that's a common myth. I don't know. Maybe some guys win that way, but I mean, obviously everything you do at home isn't going to win. But that doesn't mean that what you put in the box, you shouldn't be proud and wouldn't want to serve your family.
What does 2018 competition season look like so far, Brad?
I've done one and won one, so I'm pretty happy. Won pork too. So we went out to Denver to the stock show out there, and I mean, it's beautiful weather. You know, at 50, 60 degrees out there, and a lot of good cooks. You know, Big Papa Smokers, Porky Buster's right there next to us, Travis. And we just had a blast cooking, and I think we all finished within 2 points of each other out of that thing. So it was really tight competition, and everybody cooked well, and I was lucky enough to come out on top with a pork win and the overall GC. So I'm gearing up to head to Humboldt, Texas this weekend. We fly out on Friday morning, and that's one of the benefits of cooking on the cans. We've kind of got those things stashed everywhere, so we can just fly in, pick them up, and go cook. I'm actually borrowing a friend's down there, another can guy that lives down in Houston is going to loan me 4 cans to cook on. So it's fun. I mean, we're hitting it running, and I'm sure I'll hit it hard again this year. I just, you know, my family's enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. And as long as that's the case, we're going to keep running at it.
All right, Brad, so let's go ahead and get after it a little bit here. You've seen and been a part of many posts recently that have been, I don't know if critical is the right word, but let's say critical of how KCBS has handled some things recently. The most recent was that initial cut of Team of the Year payouts, and then feeling blowback from social media. I'm sure phone calls, emails, and so forth. They double back and pay out what the expected amounts were. You were a part of that Team of the Year, expecting one thing, not getting it. When did you find out about the short, and did you get any advance notice on it beforehand?
No, I mean, I found out about it on the stage, you know. Sitting up there, and ever since I've been competing and understood, you know, I've been told that these things aren't published. It is a year-by-year thing, so us expecting it might not have been the way to look at it. I mean, we, you know, for the last 7 years, it had been exactly the same, and this year, without publishing anything, they've been run off the same sheet from 2012, I believe, or 2013 that they've done the payouts. You get up there and start looking at the check, and I get my 14 of the year check, and it's half of what, you know, what I was expecting. And so I got back and started looking through the other checks, and sure enough, those were half of everything. And I think the main thing is just, you know, that we had a problem with, and Travis will, you know, probably told you the same thing. It's just the way it was done, you know. Obviously, they knew people were going to get upset about it. We just felt a little misled about it. Some people probably wouldn't have gone to the banquet, obviously, if we would have known. And we think, you know, a lot of people think that the reason it was held back is because they knew it would hit the banquet. And so they knew there was going to be a storm, you know, a shit storm, so to speak, if I could say that. Yep. At some point, they decided to have that storm after the banquet, and I think that was a conscious decision. And we were critical of them, and you know, they turned around and they listened, and you know, they decided to make it right. And I want it to be known. I mean, I'm not here to bash the board. I mean, you know, they're doing this for the same reason that we're doing this. They love barbecue. They love competition barbecue. They're volunteers. It's a thankless job. And they're running a $1.5 million business. And I just don't think they're putting themselves in a very good situation, and they just didn't think it through this time. But to their credit, they made it right, and hopefully they're going to publish what the 2018 payouts are here sooner rather than later, and we can just move on.
Brett, I'd asked Travis a couple weeks ago this question, and there didn't really seem to be too much worry or concern, but once you start seeing the reaction on halvesies, on the Team of the Year payouts and so forth, all of a sudden it seemed to become relevant, and people starting asking that question over and over again. And that is the financial fitness of KCBS as an organization. Do you have any type of a take on that, or any concern that that's not being managed properly?
Well, I mean, I think there's a concern. I mean, I think, for my take, and again, this is my take,
sure.
Someone from the board might be able to come on and
no, they won't come on. They won't come on.
Well, I'll give an opportunity. But I think that they lost some sponsors, I think, in the MMA shakeup. And so I'm guessing that in years past, be it Sam's Club or somebody had put up the $55,000 or whatever it was that went to the Team of the Year, and that sponsor has gone away. And so I don't know that there's any impending financial doom at KCBS. I think they're bringing enough money in. I mean, you can do the math. They've got 20,000 members, that are paying, however much money a piece. I mean, they're bringing some money in. They're bringing money in from sanctioning contests. Are they they've got that building, that's always the concern, but if they get that rented out, it'll be fine. So I don't know if I would sit there and say that there's a financial, crisis at KCBS. Do they not have enough money to do some of the things that I wish that they would do? Yeah, I mean, that's clearly the case. I mean, I think a lot of us top teams wish that they would support us and market us and pay out a little bit more for Team of the Year. But I mean, we got to understand too that it's a big, diverse organization, and yeah, a lot of us at the top want to get a little bit more money for that. But I mean, the vast majority of their membership doesn't really care about Team of the Year. So they did the thing that was, just like most politicians, the easiest thing to do, and that was to cut that out. And, whether that was the right decision, I mean, I don't think it is. I mean, I think everything, I think supporting guys like Travis and Tim and, making them marketable, and making us marketable will actually float everybody and make competition barbecue more popular. I think there's several ways to get around it, but, again, on the financial state of it, I would say they're probably okay. I don't think there's anything to worry too much about.
Brad, just in your opinion, would an installation of, let's say, a CEO or a high-level executive and cutting out the number of board members be a potential solution? Maybe keeping, let's say, 5 board members around, but having that CEO person there to steer the ship, make decisions without having to go through some kind of a vote each and every time, especially if there's an easy fix for something or a known decision that could be made that would really just benefit not only KCBS as an organization, but the membership as well.
Yeah, no, I think that's clearly what needs to happen. I mean, and it's going to cost some money, but they need to get somebody in. I think, getting somebody in, paying them, and coming in to lead the direct, have some vision and lead the organization would benefit everybody, and let the board act like a board, and the board turns over. That's another thing. I mean, what did we get? Six new board members this year? So now everybody's coming in January. We're starting with new ideas, new this, new that. I mean, yeah, you've got to have some continuity there. So they absolutely need to bring somebody in to lead KCBS into the future. And, I've cooked other sanctioning bodies. KCBS is the best sanctioning body. It is the best scoring, but it does have problems, and they do need a leader to pull them through this time. So absolutely, I think that needs to get done.
Brad Leiniger is the 2017 KCBS Pork Team of the Year. He is getting ready to hit it again in 2018. Already got a win under his belt. Brad, always appreciate the time and the candor. Continued success, and we'll talk again soon.
Hey, I appreciate it, Greg. Thank you.
You got it. There he is, Brad Leiniger. Not disappointing, as always. That was excellent. Thank you for doing that, Brad. Hey, here's Facebook. No, that's not Facebook, but this is. Tammy and Brian love the shirt, Greg. Smitty will be in Denver next weekend at Proud Souls Barbecue Provisions. He'll be putting on a rib class with proceeds going to charity. All right. Love that. I like this shirt, by the way. Doug Durda weighing in. on the chicken wing talk. While I love the ranch anything, but blue cheese is unacceptable with buffalo wings. Unacceptable? You're unacceptable, Doug.
Get that big stuff out of here.
Go back to Pittsburgh. Well, that's not the right thing there. Here we go. If I could see around that, I got to reconfigure my desk so I can see. All right, that was Brad Leininger, gettinbasted.com, Gettin, gettinbasted.com. Let me talk to you quickly about Cook Shack, manufacturers of smoker ovens for barbecue lovers. With any amount of experience, whether you barbecue in the backyard, in the competition circuit, in a 5-star dining facility, Cook Shack has the unit that will do the job. And with a full line of barbecue sauces, spices, pellets, and wood chunks, it's the perfect one-stop shop. Cook Shack strives to be your barbecue resource center by offering Smoke and Grilling 101s, a video cooking classroom. You can check out their website at cookshack.com or follow them on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest, and Google+. Get advice and share your passion for barbecue on their world-class barbecue forum. Cook Shack pellet-fired smokers are the choice of champs because they were designed by a champion, Ed Fast Eddie Morin. The FEC 100 and PG 1000 are always customer favorites. The PG 1000 can double as a smoker and a grill. Slow and low, hot and fast, the pellet grill line gives you the most for your money. What if you like electric smokers? No problem. Cook Shack residential electric smokers are the #1 in the industry. High quality means high durability and versatility. Anything you can cook in your oven, you can make in a Cook Shack. Passion and dedication drives Cook Shack's manufacturing, with quality always being at the forefront. Get the best in barbecue since 1962. That's right, 800-423-0698. That's 800-423-0698. Or visit the website, cookshack.com. Jay Tinney to talk about the San Antonio win this past weekend. Stick around, be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rampey.
The segment being brought to you by Fireboard. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect to Wi-Fi or cloud-based monitoring, or connect via the Bluetooth. The red, white, and blue Bluetooth. If you have Alexa or Google Assistant in your home, you're in luck because Fireboard is fully integrated with both. Find out more by visiting fireboard.com. That's fireboard.com, or call 816-945-2232. That's 816-945-2232. Good folks over at Fireboard. Helping me close it down tonight, a pitmaster who just earned his first GC of his cooking career and did it at one of the most prestigious contests, not only in Texas, but across the country. Here to recap the big weekend. From Tinney Barbecue is Jay Tinney.
Finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
1 for more options. Jay, this is Greg at Barbecue Central. I'm calling you right back. I hope I got the right number. We've had such a good time already here. Oh, okay. Here we go. Joining me now is the pitmaster of Tinney Barbecue, Jay Tinney. Jay, how are you, buddy?
Hey, good. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Oh, we're doing well.
Well, I appreciate you making time to join me here, Jay. Certainly big weekend this past. Congrats, obviously, in order not only breaking the maiden at the San Antonio barbecue cook-off. I mean, it's certainly a contest that you would want to win before you put out the fire for good anyway. But before we break that event down, do you mind giving us a little bit of background on you, where you live, and how you got in this whole competition scene?
Well, I live in Austin, Texas, and I guess it was probably about 13 years ago. I was heading out to this giant antique show with one of my best friends from high school, and we're driving out there. It's about 50 miles outside of Austin, and, you know, didn't have an offset pit or any type of real smoker at the time. We'd always use Weber's, and, you know, we're driving by, and we see this little town right before Round Top, and they have this guy's on the side of the road selling this trailered little offset, and, you know, he had $450 on, so we went over to the impact machine and, you know, pulled out some money and brought him $400. He said, "I'll take it. I'm done for the day." And we drug that on to meet up with my family and go mess around and shop some antiques, and then took it home and used that for a few years and went out to try our hand at the Austin Rodeo. And, that's, where the big corporate teams are, and you got to serve the public. And we had our hands full, believe it or not. And one of the big teams took notice how hard we were working. They said, hey, guys, why don't y'all just join us next year? So we did, and, did the competition out at the Rodeo Austin for, 10-plus years with multiple teams. And the rest is kind of history. Now I'm, doing it under my team name.
Jay, what are you using for cookers out there? Do you have multiple units? Do you cook different meat on different cookers? Or are you just a one brand kind of guy?
No, I'm a multiple brand kind of guy. I've got everything from my giant Southern Pride for catering to, to a backyard Jambo, which I cooked the brisket on partially, at the San Antonio contest, finished it off on a Traeger. I've got barrel trash can smokers, multiple, three different Webers. So I like a variety of pits.
All right, so let me pick your brain on the brisket procedure there. You started off in the Jambo, and then you finish it in the Traeger. What's the mindset there?
Just wanted to put a little bit of clean smoke on it at the end. And, I typically don't sauce, so I'll say one of the things I did, and I tried my hand at sauce and just a light sauce. And that seemed to obviously be what the judges like, to bubble it up out of 300-plus teams up to first-place brisket. So,
Jay, are you a team that is heavily sponsored, or is this just more of a hobby for you that you have some money to invest or burn, and instead of cars, it's barbecue?
No, I am pretty heavily sponsored on the product side, not monetarily, but, definitely, lots of folks from Creekstone Farms briskets and Head Country and Cutco knives and B&B charcoal and, lots of local ones as well. But I spent 16 years in the high-tech business with Dell and VMware, and finally decided after kind of a tragedy in the neighborhood, there was a flood that happened, and, a lot of lives were lost here out in Wimberley, Texas, and just kind of went, what am I doing sitting in this desk job? Let's break free and spend our life savings. So I put about $100,000 into an Intech trailer and, outfitted it up to feed a couple thousand or 50 people. So we've got a real high-end fun catering trailer, and we add in all those different grills into our arsenal. So
you are really living the barbecue lifestyle. Not only are you competing, but you're doing the vending and the catering thing to make the money.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Living the dream, trying to stay out of that. I decided to make that change at 50 years old, which was pretty shocking. But, a lot of support from the community and the neighborhood and friends, family, and, everybody, I think kind of aspires to try to do what they, love to do. You just kind of get caught in a rut sometimes in life. And I went ahead and just stepped out and doing it. So we're having a good time, hoping we can do it for a long time to come and enjoying the dream so far.
Jay Tinney joining me here on the show from Tinney Barbecue. Jay, have you competed in the San Antonio? The San Antonio barbecue cook-off before?
I have. I did compete by myself in 2015 and pulled out it was the first time there, and pulled out a 6th-place chicken. And then last year I just kind of helped a buddy of mine, Carlo Casanova from KG Cookers. I helped him just kind of cook. He ran everything, ran his recipes and stuff. So can't take credit for any of that, but enjoyed still being there. But it's a great contest and close to Austin, and obviously one of the major cities here. So it's a really, really fun deal they're putting on down there.
All right, so let's take a look back at the weekend, Jay. Just from a high level, when do you load in for that event, and how does the weekend unfold for you? Are you also doing the invitational part the day before, or is it just the open? Like, what's your deal?
No, I didn't do the Pachi chase and stuff just because I don't compete enough to accumulate enough points. I'm pretty busy these days doing the catering, so I typically, am doing anywhere from 3 to 6 cook-offs a year. Picking and choosing the fun ones and the big ones, and but last year I only ended up only being able to do 2. So kind of getting into the rodeo. Twisted X Brewing Company sponsored me and paid the entry and supplied some great craft beer, and so in trade I said, hey, I'll cook for some of your HEB, executives and everything, which is a local giant grocery store down here out of San Antonio. And so I put on a little fajita dinner for them Friday night, and then wore myself out and got ready to stay up late and get up early and and get that brisket on. So we had our plate full. I was like a one-arm wallpaper hanger. So.
So the San Antonio Barbecue Cook-Off is a sanctioned event, IBCA. So are you doing all three categories then in order to be able to qualify for an overall championship?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I'm doing that. And, yeah, it's the largest sanctioned cook-off in Texas these days. So, yeah, you have to definitely do all three meets here to qualify to get the points. So ended up being just that the final ticket of the night, was enough to win it. It was just such a stacked field that, just the final brisket calls what took it and took the grand championship.
What kind of a flavor profile are you running? And it seems that from my conversations that I have with the pitmasters down in Texas, it steers away a little bit from, let's say, the sweet flavor profile. Is it still kind of savory and some heat down there?
Yeah, you pretty much dead on. Yeah, I switched recently right at the end of the year. I told myself, hey, I've been running the same stuff for years and years, and I'm getting away from the sweet, and I went more of a salty, savory, fresh, medium to light grind, pepper and just something, kind of middle of the road, nothing overpowering, one way or the other, and just something that would be good in the box sitting up there an hour and a half on final table. Texas judging doesn't flow as fast, as say a KCBS. So, that product's got to taste good cold up there. And that's kind of what I went after.
So is that how you're practicing when you're trying to get those flavor profiles set, when you're doing it at home or whatever? Do you flavor profile to lukewarm to cool meat? It sounds weird to say.
Definitely. Yeah, I always will taste it, from the initial bite and see, what it tastes like, even an hour later, just to find out, if it's sitting there at one of these giant contests, what's it going to taste like at that point? So I think that's key to success.
What kind of a meat guy are you, Jay? In other words, are you Wagyu and Duroc and higher end meat, or are you more of a commodity mindset?
On the brisket, I'm definitely a prime and Wagyu guy for sure. I think that just makes a huge difference, because I typically only do the bigger contests, so I think you've got to have that kind of meat for it to bubble up to the, the final table. If you got a Wagyu sitting against a choice, I think most people are going to point at the Wagyu and go, that's better brisket and score it higher for sure.
As you had mentioned, go ahead.
Oh, nothing. I was saying that the smaller cook-offs, it may be a little too weird of a profile. You go out in some of the outlying hill country here in Texas, and they're not used to a Wagyu, so they're going to put that in their mouth probably and go, what is that? So we just kind of be cognizant of what area we're in.
As you had mentioned a couple minutes ago, Jay, this is the largest sanctioned IBCA event. So for those that don't know, you get tickets, and as they're calling out overall, they're basically just calling out a number, and then you look at your ticket, and it's kind of like winning the lottery in some respect, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's pretty much like yelling bingo, and it was funny because, you beat yourself up. I thought I had a good brisket, but I didn't think I had a championship brisket just based on what I'm looking for. And, you always got to think, what are the judges looking for, not what I'm looking for. So when they called that number, I was kind of sitting there. I hadn't fanned out, and I was sitting there with a crowd of folks. And, and they kind of called it again. I thought, all right, I'm looking. I didn't have my glasses on, and I'm looking. I've made the walk of shame one time and didn't have the right number, so I wasn't going to do that again. You can ask Big Mo Case on. He laughed his ass off on that. It was pretty funny. I got some good high fives on that. So, some guys could tell I was starting to look at it, and then they have a giant screen next to the stage. And there's several thousand people at awards, and I'm looking at it, and I got it up, kind of by the screen. I'm squinting and looking. A couple guys look over my shoulder, Carlo and those guys, and they're like, oh my God, and I still looked at it again. I waited minutes before I took off on that. I was still nervous to hand it over to the head judge, Kevin Sherry up there. So, but she ended up having a match, and the rest is history. So,
Jay, it had to be an extra special moment. Certainly, you want that first grand championship in any contest that you're entering, right? But to get it at this kind of contest, you might have picked off one of the best, like right off the bat to win at. I mean, that had to be extra special, not only to get the first GC, but to win the San Antonio.
Yeah, that's where it really it's starting to sink in, and just like, being on your show, I appreciate that. And, the phone's been ringing and so many congratulations from friends, and, such a special stage to do it on in one of the major cities in the U.S. and the largest sanctioned cook-off. And just, every hitter in Texas, heavy hitters there. I mean, there's so many great cooks in this state. It's just such a privilege to be able to bubble up to the top and win one finally in that grand of a stage. So pretty excited and humbled to get that award there. So it's very, very, very special to me. I'll take that one to the grave,
Jay, was being at the Royal last year and kind of hanging with Fred and Ernest and Carlo, does that, when you're around those guys, even if you're just kind of helping out, does that help build your competition IQ and it helps lead to get to this GC eventually?
Yeah, I mean, it does. I mean, obviously those guys, and you don't ask them, hey, what are you running, but you just, you will pick up a little trick here and there or something. Oh, wow, God, I've never done that. Let me try that, I think you never quit learning, because it seems like, at least in Texas, profiles can change based on a season or a year, and you got to be cognizant of that and remember what hits in certain areas. And, definitely those guys are all just, awesome cooks, way above my level, and, good friends and love hanging out with them. And they're awesome cooks, and you can learn a lot from those type of guys. So, really enjoyed doing that, and seeing Fred hit a perfect 180, on that brisket. I didn't even know what a perfect was, and I came off the stage, and old Frank Boyers, a photographer, was sitting next to me, and I leaned over, I'm like, what's a perfect? And he explained, what that is, where they, don't drop that last score even, they love it. So that was pretty special to be around that and be a part of that team to experience that. That was pretty neat.
Jay, let's look ahead to 2018. Obviously, aside from this past weekend, what does that competition schedule look like for you at this point?
Well, I got a lot of free entries into some big cook-offs. One of them, I think, is coming up, Smoking on the Rio down in Mercedes, Texas. And, that's where all the Fred Robles and, some heavy hitters all are down in that area. Arnie Segovia, a lot of guys that can really cook. So, I'm very interested to start looking at the calendar to, pick up on some of those that I've got free entries in. And then Austin Rodeo is right around the corner. And I'm going to join a big team here called Texas Smoke 'em. I've been asked to be their head competition cook on that. So it's a bunch of friends and everything that I hang out with. So that'll be a good time. And, we'll start looking at down the line. I've, obviously got into Houston Rodeo for 2019. J.D. Henley, who won it last year from Buckshot Cookers, you probably know, is doing it this year. So pretty excited to get back in that champion circle. Me and Ernest and Matt Barber out of Florida, and Carlo Casanova did it for KG Cookers last year. So that was fun. I'd like to get back there. That's a really neat contest there. So,
Jay, does winning this event and then going into that next cook-off put any pressure on you, or do you think that you will unknowingly have that mark on your back that people are going to be gunning for the guy that won the San Antonio barbecue cook-off?
Oh, I think it'll be in the back. I mean, some people beat themselves up over it. Now, for me, I'm there to have fun and cook hard and everything too, and have a great time. But I won't put any extra pressure. It's almost like deer hunting your whole life and waiting on that giant buck to step out, and you finally got him. It's like you can breathe a little bit, and it'll probably, I think it may even help me. It'll probably make me a little less stressful. And you can ask a lot of my friends like Joey Smith from Joe's Cook Shack. They call me the hardest working man in barbecue because I don't do 30, 40 a year like they do. I'll do the 3 or 4 a year. So I'm just making laps around my pit, they sit over in their chairs drinking their beer, laughing, and watching me just run in circles like the Energizer Bunny. So maybe that'll take some of that pressure off, and I'll be able to sit down and have a beer with them occasionally in between turn-ins.
Do you do other sanctioning bodies besides IBCA, or are you just pretty much an IBCA guy?
Pretty much IBCA, and there's another sanctioning body here, Lone Star, but I mainly moved to IBCA. That's where a lot of the bigger contests, and it's just it seems like a better, well-run, organization body. And I like doing the KCBS. I'd like to do more. Just done a few with Carlo and the KG Cookers and stuff. So, I'd like to do more. May do some more. He's getting a new trailer built. I might do some traveling with him and get out in the field and do some of those.
He's Jay Tinney. He is the pitmaster at Tinney Barbecue and won the San Antonio Barbecue Cook-Off this past weekend. Jay, really appreciate the time tonight. Thanks so much for doing it, and congratulations on that win.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, guys. Take care.
You got it. There he is, Jay Tinney. Your San Antonio Barbecue Cook-Off grand champion. By the way, there were a lot of people racing around that weekend. I was watching some live feeds that the guys over at Best Barbecue Show were doing. They chased over there, and I think they actually tracked down Texas correspondent of the show, Doug Scheiding. Rumor has it that they may or may not have also gotten with one of my favorite Texas cooks, CJ, Clarence Joseph from Mama and Papa Joe's Barbecue. I don't think that video is available anymore, but I think they were out there kind of hitting up some of the bigger names out there. Let me tell you, a lot of people were writing in and asking me about the left ear recovery. And I think by and large, everything is good. The hearing is still not great. It's probably better than it was. But what is really annoying over the last couple of weeks, and I'm hoping, against hope, that it is just the healing process, is that even like right now as I am talking, it sounds. Remember back in 1990 when bass was real popular and everybody was playing like DJ Magic Mike and all that stuff? Meanwhile, I'm playing this in my Toyota Celica GTS because this was my jam. Absolutely. Santorini by Yanni. But you would blow speakers, right? Especially the tweeters and stuff like this. And I'm not talking about the social media website, the tweeters, but the actual speakers. So that's what it sounds like right now in my ear. So it's kind of annoying. But, just the talking or listening to certain frequencies, it makes it sound like that speaker in my ear is popped. So I might have to call the doctor on that. Nevertheless. All right, let's make tracks to get the hell out. All the way back in the first hour, we talked with Travis Magee from M Grills. Again, the website, mgrills.com. If you want to, even if you're not in the market, if you just want to feast your eyes on some sexy-ass cookers, mgrills.com is the place to go to satisfy that. Then at 9:35, we talked to Tim Schopp from Tim's Full Belly Deli. Masters in May sold out. Golden Ribbon is on its way to selling out here over the next 10, 15 days. Maybe 20, maybe. Death Store, still a lot of spots open, but those fill up quickly. Again, 48 teams only. Then we moved to the second hour where we talked with Brad Leiniger at Getting Basted about 2017, Pork Team of the Year, what he's doing this year. Talked about some KCBS issues as well. And then we finished it out with Jay Tinney from Tinney Barbecue winning the San Antonio Barbecue Cook-Off. All right, that's going to do it. Big show planned for next Tuesday, September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Eat all of your 1.35 billion chicken wings that you have coming your way over the weekend. Call your shot on social media. Post it on my show page. We'll see who's right. First one to come up with the right team, I'll try and send out a prize. We'll see how that goes. September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.